You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Very happy to be here with you, and let's get motivated, right? That's what it's all about, being here together each week. So we are going to be taking your calls coming up in the next segment, but I want you to know that we're all about success today. How do we attain the success that we want in our lives? What do we need to do? What action plan do we have to have in place to make sure that we do achieve those goals? So we're going to take your calls on that. We're also going to be joined in our next segment from Jim Mashear. He was a pitcher with the Oakland Athletics, but he's going to share with us how he was born with clubfoot and how that kind of held him back, but yet propelled him to success. He'll share that story with us. If you want support on today's topic, feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. We want to be able to give you the resources so you can have those achievements that you want in your life. Also, if you have an inspirational story that you feel would motivate our audience, we'd love to hear from you. Again, send us your story to connect@livingfullout.com. So many times people say, Nancy, how can I go back and listen to today's show again? I missed something, or I want to hear it again. Just feel free to go to livingfullout.com and you can listen to today's show again and all of our shows by going to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show page. So again, success, how do we grasp that? How do we even figure out what we want? What does success mean? Remember that life is meant to be lived. It's a journey. We don't come out of our mom's wombs born with success on top of our mind. We have to feel it. We have to desire it. We have to create it. And so don't feel bad if at some point in your life, wherever you are, that you feel like you don't quite know what your passion is. You're not clear on what success means to you. That's what this hour is for. It's for you to discover that. And perhaps by listening to our callers that do reach out to us today, or our inspirational guest, that will help trigger for you, what it is that fires you up, that lights you up inside. So I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome to the show. Hi, thank you. How can we help you today?
Yes, I have a question. I'm a first-year student in college, and I have thoughts that, it's not going to be there forever. I'm not going to have it. And I just want to help my family economically, and I want to be economically independent. So I don't know if I should get a job right now and balance my school, my job, and my social life, or should I just wait until summer break?
It's a great question, because whether we like it or not, we kind of live in a society of instant gratification. We want everything now. And we desire things. Like, I love that you want to help your family. But you have to look back at your past behaviors, your successes, and see how much you can really take on. So when you look back, maybe you're in college now, so back when you were in high school or even growing up, how much can you manage? Would taking on a job further diversify you? Not only bring money and put it into your pocket and have you be able to help your family, but maybe that would teach you other skills, maybe working with others, being a team player, you name it. Or if you take on that part-time job, might that tip the scale to where you're just overwhelmed, you're burdened, you're maybe not sleeping as well, and maybe your classes would suffer. What do you think?
I believe I guess I can handle it because my schedule is I have a lot of free time, so I guess I can balance it.
Okay. So I want you to say that last sentence with a little bit more vigor, a little bit more energy. I can balance it.
I can balance it.
Say it a little louder. Come on, give it to me.
I can balance it.
Right. So the trick here to life is confidence and believing in yourself. So there's really no debate. There's really no question. You got this. I can balance it. I can do it. And so always remember that the answers are already inside you. And so I think you can. I say you'll get that job. How does that sound?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Well, keep us posted. We wish you all the best. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. You know, sometimes in life to be successful, we just need someone to tell us, A, it's going to be okay, and B, I can do it. And she absolutely can. I love that she got that clarity. We're going to go back to the phone lines again and say hello to another caller. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi there. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
Well, I'm a college student, and I tend to worry a lot about the stresses instead of living in the moment.
Sign me up. I've been there too. That's hard, right? How do you not get gobbled up by the stresses of any given day? If I were to say to you, right on the spot, what's the biggest stress on your shoulders right now? What is that?
Money.
Okay. And
or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. Again, I'm raising my hand. Okay. They call it starving college student for a reason, right? Those are tough times where you have to kind of slim it down and you're being stretched in so many different directions and you don't want to fail in school, but you need money, right?
Yeah.
So rather than letting all the challenges, like I'm sure there's a number 2 and there's a number 3 and there's number 4. Try to compartmentalize. Try to put number 2, 3, 4, and 5 aside for a second and just focus on number 1, money. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this could be done a couple of different ways. Okay? Maybe you might look at getting a part-time job and seeing if there's some way that you could work in the evenings, during the days, on the weekends. Now, you might say to yourself, I'm overextended or I really got to focus on classes. Then maybe you might look for jobs where you can choose when you work. It's not a weekly commitment. You know, that could be being a babysitter, being a nanny, you know, going into any newspaper or online, finding jobs where people might need you once a week, once a month. But, you know, if you take an extra $50 a month, $100 a month, that would help, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what I want you to do after we hang up today is I just want you to put down on paper, look at your schedule and say, okay, so that my classes don't get compromised, so that I still have some, you know, personal time for myself, how much time do I actually have that I could contribute to making some money? That might be 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever. Then I want you to make a list of all the things that you might be able to do within that time frame. And then go after it. Because fear stands for false evidence appearing real. This fear of money or lack of money, it is something that you actually have control over. It's just figuring out how much time and what will I do. But once you kind of work through that, then you can go on to burden number 2, which I know is so exciting. Who doesn't want to just keep tackling them? But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do one at a time.
Yes.
Okay. But if you do that, I promise you, you will sleep like a baby at night because you know that you're in control of your life.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, we'll again be wishing you all the best, and I know that you got it inside you to do it. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Bye.
So sometimes in life, you know, we just have to, I hate to say it, pull the trigger, but we just have to cross the finish line. We have to sometimes encourage ourselves to just take that next step. We might not know where we're stepping, where we're going, but it's just believing in yourself. Most of the people who have been successful in life, they didn't get there because they did everything right. They checked every box, they crossed every T, they dotted every I. They didn't get there because of that. They got there because they were passionate, because they desired that outcome so much that they knew they would just hang in there with themselves until it happened. And that's where you want to be as well. So I encourage you to consider over the rest of this hour, where in your life do you want to be successful and what do you need to get there? Now, our inspirational guest, Jim Mashir, his story is one that's going to open your eyes even wider so you can take those actions on. We'll be right back after this break. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay tuned.
Fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Let's make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not working. I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And
then nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about success. How do we achieve that? How do we even figure out what we want? Well, our inspirational guest today, Jim Mashir, is no stranger to success, but he had to overcome his own hurdles by being born with clubfoot. Now, I don't want to give it all away, so I'd like to welcome Jim to the show. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Nancy. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hi. Absolutely. You know, before we jump in to talking about, being born with clubfoot and all the multiple surgeries that you've had, can you share with our audience what that is? What that condition represents?
When I was born, when I was born, my right foot was turned in directly towards my left leg, so I had bone, tendon, and ligament problems. So the first thing they did is put casts on my feet, and then I also, at the age of 1, had a heel cord surgery to try to straighten my foot. So they did all that, but as I was growing around 7, they noticed I was limping and was starting to walk on the ball of my foot, and the clubfoot came back, and they needed to reconstruct my foot so that it would never go back to its birth position again.
Obviously, being born and being 1, you didn't remember all those other surgeries and the things that went on, but at 7, was that scary to think about this surgery and what that might be like, or how was that for you at that age?
It was, because I didn't think anything was wrong. So I was running around at 7. I was a good athlete. I was faster than the other kids. I felt great. So to me, it was very confusing. So my parents would say, well, you're limping, you're on the ball of your feet. So the doctor came in and said, this is what we need to do. So no matter how long they explained it to me, it still didn't make sense because I thought I was fine. So when I came out of surgery and all the rehab, the cast, I was different, and I felt worse than I did before, so it was very hard to understand.
Well, and you had probably your most tender, innocent moment when you saw the bruising on your foot and just kind of the aftermath of the surgeries. And here you were, athletic, fearless, invincible, but did you wonder, was this going to heal? Was I going to be, quote, quote, normal?
When I first looked at the scar, it was obviously devastating, and I didn't know what to think about that. But it was the shape of my foot and my leg after. It wasn't about what I could do, because I guess I was 7 and really didn't think about it in those terms. Because, when you're 7, you feel invincible, so maybe I could get over it. I really didn't think about it. It was the look and how it was different from everybody else, because now my right calf was about half the size of my left. So, and my foot was very box shape, and there was a big bump where my ankle was. So I looked different, and I guess that's probably the biggest thing as a kid that I went through, is the fact that I wasn't normal.
Mm-hmm. The good thing is you are well-liked, well-respected, as you are today. So that's never changed for you, Jim. But as you journeyed along past that time at 7, when you had all those surgeries, when they did reconstruct your foot, did it maintain? Did it hold? Or as you journeyed into your 20s, 30s, and so forth, did you find that you needed additional surgeries, or was that it?
Well, they did it so that it was, I would say, past the other way. So they did it purposely so that it wouldn't come back. And I guess that's where my problem lies. So I used to be on the ball of my feet. Now I'm totally on the heel of my foot. And my ankle's fused. I can't move in either direction. So I couldn't build that calf up. So, that wasn't the worry. It was just how much scar tissue I would break down and how much movement I would have in that ankle to build up the calf.
Now, sports were always your thing. You loved every type of sport. But when after the surgeries, what sort of sports were you not able to do that you really wanted to do, but just because of everything you couldn't?
Well, I liked hockey, and I still played hockey, but I played deck hockey. I couldn't skate because my ankle just buckled down on the ground. I played basketball for a while, but in the 9th grade, I sprained my knee because I think it was too much sideways movement, and I really didn't have that ability anymore. And I always played football with friends, and it was probably one of my favorites, but doctors and my parents were not going to allow me to play tackle football at any age. So it pretty much came down to things like track and baseball, and I wasn't a big fan of running long distances.
Right. I'm not a big runner either, so I'm with you there. So when you finally found baseball, what was that like? I mean, this was something that you could do, and obviously we'll talk about your successes shortly, but you did it very well. Do you think that you were just naturally gifted, or do you think having clubfoot, needing to overcompensate, made you unique?
Well, it definitely made me unique, but I always had baseball, so it was something that it was probably my favorite by far anyway. But the fact when I got older, it was just something I loved, and I had the ability for it. But as a kid, I not only did I have clubfoot, I was smaller than most kids until I was about a junior in high school. So I never really thought of how far I could take baseball. I just knew that I loved it, and I always wanted to play it.
And I love that you say that, because we get emails all the time at Living Full Out about people wanting to reach success. And it so starts with passion and desire, and then everything else follows. Would you agree?
I totally agree with that, because I know now in the sports arena, parents are a little crazy with it because they want their kid to go far athletically, and it's really about the kid wanting it. But no matter how hard the parent tries, they can't do it. So it's always about that passion and having the ability and wanting to work harder.
Absolutely. And when we come back, we're going to be taking a break shortly. I want to venture into the successes that you did have, as a pitcher, and just, how that journey for you unfolded, because a lot of times, for example, I'm legally blind, and I know you had clubfoot when you were born, and somebody else is going to have another either, injury they had, or disability, or even a heartbreak. How do people get around that to get to the other side and actually be able to say, I can do it, and I deserve it, and so forth? So will you stay with us as we take this break and come back in?
Of course.
Okay. So everybody listening today, again, we're with Jim Misher, and the thing is, I want you to think about, as we listen to Jim's story, what is the success that you'd like to achieve in your life? Thinking about being resilient, what it might take for you to get to the other side, because we're all worth it. We all have that ability. So this is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Definitely stay with us. You don't want to miss the rest of the interview. And remember, later on, we're going to be taking your calls. It's all about achieving success in your life. Nothing is without being able to do it. You can. You just have to put yourself out there, believe in yourself, know that you can do it. Any of those limitations that come along the way, we're just going to figure out how to troubleshoot them, scoot them along. But knowing that anything is attainable, knowing that you're confidently going after your dreams and goals, that's where it begins. Stay with us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about how to achieve success in life. And we're joined by our inspirational guest, Jim Mashir, who was born with clubfoot, yet went on to have great success as a pitcher, and that most recently with Oakland Athletics. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, I just wanted to reach back out to Jim here, bring him back into the interview, because there's so much more that we want to cover. Jim, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Hey, so I wonder, or have you ever wondered, what your life would have been like if you were not born with clubfoot?
No, I have no clue. It's the only thing I really remember. So it's I can't imagine. I really don't know.
You don't know. It's just the way it is. Now, what do you think has been your superpower? Okay, so for example, you were born with clubfoot, you learned how to overcompensate and deal with that and muscle through the surgeries. How did that develop you to become the athlete you became?
I think I had a high tolerance to pain. I think I also was less sensitive because as a kid, when you are different, people see it, you become kind of introverted at times. And I think I had to learn lessons earlier than most people do. And that's why I was able to become a major league pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of your signatures was the screwball pitch, right? How did that come about?
Well, that might help answer your first question.
Mm-hmm.
That came about because my mechanics were very poor. So you wouldn't see a major league pitcher have the mechanics that I did. And that was because of my club foot. I couldn't push off the mound like everybody else. I'd fall a foot short, and I would use a lot of upper body to throw, and it would pull me sideways instead of straight down. And I tried all the other pitches, curveball, slider, knuckleball, you name it, and they just weren't that good. And I knew when I was moving forward, college and into the minor leagues, I wouldn't be able to succeed. I needed more. So I saw a pitching coach in college. His name was Rich Folkers. He was a former major league pitcher. He was teaching a lefty how to throw the pitch. And I saw him and I started emulating the pitch. And after 3 years, it became my signature pitch and the pitch that got me to the big leagues. So I think that first question is, that would have been different. If I didn't have club foot, I would not have learned how to throw that pitch. And I would have been a different pitcher, not to say I wouldn't get to the big leagues, but I probably would have thrown harder and been able to throw the other pitches. So I wouldn't have needed to learn the screwball. So in the end, we never know, but I could have actually gotten to the big leagues because of the club foot.
You know what? I love that. Let's just say thank you to the club foot, right? Thank you for needing me to go on that journey, overcompensate, and come out the other end just outstanding. And when you look back at your career, because you've had so many, peaks, but what would you say is that one moment that stands out above all the others? That's really the pinch me moment for you.
I have to go back to my very first appearance in the big leagues. And really not only because it was my debut, it was because it was at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees, who were my favorite team growing up. And I faced my favorite player, Don Mattingly. It was the last month of his career. And I was able to hold that. I didn't give up an earned run for 3 2/3 innings in front of all my friends and family. So, my career went on for 10 years after that, but that's the memory, I guess, because I pitched it as a fan. And after that, maybe it slowly became a job, even though I loved it. But that was definitely the highlight for me that I'll never forget.
I love that. I hope you got lots of pictures of that day that you can look back on them and just remember, because that does sound like a truly full circle moment. And I know that you go out there and you inspire people with your story, and you talk to them about, motivation and what's required to achieve success. If you were to provide us one word that describes maybe your personality, your character, what's made you successful, what is that?
I would have to say it's either resiliency or perseverance. It's just, I guess it's moving forward. Just, you're constantly moving forward no matter what. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but you're always trying.
Mm-hmm. Was there a time that you ever wanted to give up? That you ever wanted to just say, I can't do it?
There wasn't a time that I wanted to give up. I thought that I was going to be made to give it up. I hurt my arm when I got drafted in 1991, and for the next 2 years, I wasn't throwing as hard. My arm kind of hurt, and I was no longer considered a prospect. And I went to spring training thinking, all right, you got to start writing a resume because this is not going to work anymore. That year, my arm seemed to come back, and from there, I just went on to the big leagues. But there was moments right in there where I thought it was over.
Yeah, I bet. That's scary. That's really scary. And let's talk about that resume, okay? Because after you retired from the major leagues, after you started to now transition into these new chapters of your life, you almost have to redefine what a new success would be for you. What was that process like?
It was absolutely nuts because I had no clue. I retired, I went home, and what I did at the beginning is just I raised my family and had a great time. I did what I know I could do. I coached and had some private pitching instruction. And then it took a turn. I decided to join a Toastmasters group to improve my public speaking. I was going to try a new career, and I went on to start motivational speaking, and then I took it even further. I partnered up with a woman named Ellen Schnurr, and her business is called Improv Talk, and now we combine baseball and improv to teach leadership, communication, and team building skills to associations, colleges, schools, and corporations. So I am nowhere near where I thought I'd ever be. I never could imagine what I'm doing now in a million years.
Well, but you were able to make that jump. I know it came with some probably stressful nights of figuring out, what do I do? And there's so many people listening today that are in their own life transition. They can visualize what they want. Maybe they even know a few action steps to get there. But gosh, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the word no, the I'll get back to you, people saying, they can help them, but then it never comes through. And all of a sudden you can feel very deflated. You can almost feel hopeless. What do you tell those people so they don't give up?
Well, first I'd tell them, you can't give up, because I go through it still every day. That's part of life. I think no matter how successful you get, that's still always there. But I know I learned a couple lessons, and the one I just said is you move forward no matter what. It doesn't matter what's going on. You can't, maybe you give yourself a day to wallow in self-pity, but after that, just get up and do something. Doesn't matter what it is. I also learned I am kind of a person that I want stuff now. So it took me a long time to learn that when I set a goal, that I can't constantly think about that actual goal. I have to break down every day into little smaller goals and then celebrate that. Because a lot of times when you see that bigger goal, it's very daunting, and that's what kind of deflates you, because you look at it and go, God, I can never do that. But if you just work on specific goals every day leading up to that big goal, it makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
So for me, and I guess the other thing that really took a long time to learn, but really helped me, is you can't listen to what other people say all the time, because a lot of times what people say turn into your reality.
Well said. I wanted that to sink in, because that is so true. People could say that you should have a certain career, you should get married, you should do this, you should do that. And people have to really step back and say, what brings me joy? What makes me happy?
Right. Because that's the reason why I could not, I didn't think I could get to the big leagues, because it was constantly people that even knew more about baseball, had more experience, that would tell me, you can't throw that way. The screwball's not going to work to right-handers. And a lot of times you start believing them because you think they know better than you. And it's just not true.
And another secret thing that we have to all embrace and kind of digest and get through sometimes is forgiving ourselves, being willing and able to make a mistake, being able to laugh at yourself. Have you had to embrace that over the years?
Well, that's actually one of the things I learned pitching. Being a pitcher, once you throw the ball, that's it, you have no more control. So now you want every pitch to be perfect. You want to throw the ball on the corner where the hitter can't hit it. And that lesson I finally learned, where I don't need to be perfect, I need to be excellent, I need to be consistent. And when I learned that, I finally became a better pitcher. Because in baseball, if you start trying to make each pitch perfect, you start throwing more balls, and you get behind the count, give the hitter a better count to hit in, plus you walk people, and you start doing poorly. But as soon as I learned to be consistent, I became a lot better.
Well said. And honestly, Jim, having you on the show today has just inspired me. I mean, I don't think I'm going to go out there and start pitching today, but you have opened my eyes to just looking at success in a different way. And I mean, I'm in the world of motivation, and I can't get enough of this, and I love that you are too. And I think for everybody listening, Jim and I, we're knee deep in this, right? We do it every day. But yet we still need to tap into motivation. We still look for others to inspire us. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, it's a life journey. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. And we'll be thinking of you and your family and just wishing you a beautiful day. But thank you so much.
Nancy, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim. And everybody listening today, I encourage you to go back and listen to this interview again, because I know I will. And it's just one of those things where it's a good reminder. How do we put ourselves out there? How do we achieve that success? And Jim said it best at the end there. You know, sometimes it's not about being perfect. It's about just putting ourselves out there. For me, it wasn't about being another radio host, being another speaker. It was about finding Nancy. Who is Nancy? So we're all on the quest together. That's why we meet each week for the show, right? So I welcome you to call in the next segment. Let's focus on what's holding you back. Let's get you out there, get you living your life full out, full of successes. So again, this is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and we'll be coming back shortly, taking your calls. Most of all, just remember, no goal is too big or too small. It's just about believing in yourself. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To live full out in life, you want to look at success not as this big mountain that you have to climb and hurdle over, but you want to look at it as being manageable and something fun. Remember those days when we laugh and we're excited to get up in the morning? Every dream, every goal that you have, every success that you desire can be that same way. You just have to go after it.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and I can't believe we're in the last segment of the show, but I hope over the course of the show that you have had some insights. I know I have, and we all are on this path to evolve, to grow. And sometimes we know what we want, and sometimes we don't, and that's okay. Don't make life bigger than it needs to be. Let it be fun. Let it be something that you just treasure. So today, take action in one thing that has been on your mind, on your to-do list. Maybe that's reaching out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time. And if you reach them and you have a conversation and you're reminiscing, check that box. Success. You did it. You called them. If you're trying to lose some weight and you always put other things before working out, this is the time to say, you know what? Maybe I won't get to the gym, but I'm going to take a walk around the block. Just do something. Check that box. You're going after that success. So it's just about taking little steps, but ultimately you will get there. Now we're going to go to the phone lines again and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us. How can we help you today?
I'm calling because I've been working on moving forward from situations that no longer benefit me, and I was wondering if there's any ways that you know that could just help me move forward.
Great question. And actually, our inspirational guest, Jim Ashir, he talked a lot about that today. Here's what I want to ask you. What is one thing that you want that you feel like it's out of your reach?
I would say independence.
Okay. Now, do you currently live at home with your parents, or do you live with roommates?
I go to school, so I just have roommates, yeah.
So you have roommates, okay. And so one day you envision what? What would independence look like to you?
Just relying on myself more for happiness and not others.
Okay. But go further. What does that look like? Does that mean that you have your own apartment? Does that mean that, you have a certain amount of money in the bank as savings? What would make you feel like you're finally independent?
Yeah, probably just living on my own, maybe.
Okay. And if you were to be living on your own, are you much of a decorator? Are you much of a cook? What would you do with that space that was all yours?
I would decorate it, make it my own.
Make it your own, okay. Now, would you stay in a lot or would you have parties? What would you do?
I would stay in a lot, but I'd also maybe go out with some friends and stuff.
Okay. So here's where I'm going with this. The first thing you want to tackle is independence. That may be many of your goals, right? You might have a couple different ones, but let's just say that one. You want to get really clear on visualizing what does that look like? What does it taste like to reach that success, to reach that point of being independent? When you can combine the passion to want something with what that's going to look like and what that's going to feel like, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to connect the dots to get there. Do you get that?
Yes.
So I have no doubt that you will be independently living on your own, decorating your place, having parties, you name it, very soon. But now what you want to look at is what do I need to do to attain that goal? And think of all the little things that might need to be done, earning a certain amount of money, maybe starting to look at where you'd want to live, all those things, and then put time parameters to it. How much money do I need to move? What would I need to do to make that money? Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And now the control is in your hands because you know it's possible. You got the passion, you got the vision, and you got the plan.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we wish you the best, and we know you're going to do great things, and keep us posted on how it all unfolds.
I will do. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
So everybody is called in today with such great questions, and we welcome your calls each week because I have been there. I have a lot of sounding boards in my life, people that I call and bounce ideas off of, or when I'm having a hard day, they listen to me and I can just flesh out my thoughts. And we all need that person in our life. So you're welcome to call into the show. But if you need support, find those people, that one person that can get your goals, understand your dreams. Let them kind of hold those dreams and goals in your hands and be the keeper of them for you, your accountability partner. And most of all, I want you all to know that living full out, if it was so easy, it'd be done in a snap, right? So just be patient with yourself. Laugh aloud, cry if you need, but most of all, like I've said, believe in yourself. I want to thank the entire Living Full Out team that puts the show together. We have in the studio Roger and Rich and Kristen and Riley and Bailey and just everybody who is dedicated to helping you to live your life full out. And again, if you want to hear today's show, go to livingfullout.com. We love getting emails from you. I want to know, how are you inspired by today's show? How are you going to put yourself out there? Be resilient. We'd love to hear from you. Most of all, here's to you living your life full out, because we believe in you. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.